Hello, my name is Damien from Cloud Technology Experts. In this video, I'd like to show you how to deploy Kubernetes on Amazon Web Services using Kubeadm utility. So what is Kubeadm? Kubeadm is a utility you use to deploy Kubernetes on the cloud. Notice that Kubeadm doesn't provision the resources, so you have to first of all provision the resources before you start the installation. So as we go through this installation, we have to first of all provision the resources in Amazon Web Services, and then we will install Kubeadm and its dependencies, and then we'll go from there to deploy the master node and the worker nodes of Kubernetes. This tutorial assumes that you are familiar with Amazon Web Services. It also assumes that you are familiar with Kubernetes Architecture. But if you're not, I'm going to do another video on Kubernetes Architecture. In the meantime, you can go to our blog and read up on how Kubernetes Architecture is structured. So let's get started on taking you through the tutorial. Alright, so the strategy we're going to use here is that I will take you through the dashboard of Amazon Web Services and I will create a virtual instance. For now, we're going to use that virtual instance to deploy Kubeadm and all the dependencies. After that, we're going to create an AMI of the instance, and then we'll use that AMI to deploy the rest of the components. For this architecture, we're looking at 3 virtual instances. The first virtual instance is going to be the master node, and the 2 other ones are going to be the Kubernetes worker node. So let's create a virtual instance and do the installations of dependencies. I assume that you know how to create a virtual instance, but otherwise it's usually very easy. We're going to use Ubuntu image at this point. So let's choose this image here. Okay. Most of the configurations are going to be basic, so I'm just going to go here and edit the security group, put the security group which I have already created here called Kubeadm, and I'm just going to review, see if we need to make any other changes here. Okay, I would like to choose a T2.medium. Okay, because this might be more appropriate for what we want to do. So it's warning you that this is not going to be free, and we can say continue. So now let's launch the virtual instance and let's wait for it to finish. Meanwhile, let's see the key that is attached onto it. But the key name is Kubeadm. Let's wait for it to finish instantiation, and then I'll come here to my terminal and I'll SSH into the virtual instance. At this point, let's get the details about this virtual instance by clicking here, and then I can come here to my terminal and do SSH into the virtual instance. So here I'm just going to paste it, what we just copied, and click enter. Okay, so we are in here on the Ubuntu instance. To make our process easy of what we need to do here, I already compiled the steps here to make my life a lot easy. So now that we have the instance created, I'm just going to copy this command and paste. So first of all, we want to make sure that our system is updated. So that's what we're doing here. Make sure that the system is patched and ready to be deployed. Then we're going to install the dependencies like this tool here. Okay, that is actually already installed. And after that, let's do sudo su minus, and then let us add an app repository. So we do that. And then we're going to cut a list of the apt-get. Okay, so we're gonna do Debian main and we just put end of file. So let's do apt-get update, and after that we're going to install Docker. Again, if you look at the architecture for Kubernetes, you will know that Docker has to be on every node, at least on every worker node. So we install Docker, and then we install all the dependencies which are needed to make sure that this image is ready to deploy Kubeadm. So we do all the installation, wait for it to finish, and after this we're going to create an AMI. So now it's finished. So let's go back here and click on that instance, and then we say image and we say create image. Just gonna create the image. Okay, let's give it a name. So let's do Kubeadm image. So the image is going to be creating, and we have to wait for it to be created. So we go to AMI and it's being spawned. Once that finishes, we're going to go ahead and initiate the master node on the virtual instance we just completed. And once we finish with that, then we'll spin up the AMI for our worker nodes. And on two of them, we're going to initiate the installation for Kubeadm, and then that will finish up the installation. So if you want a list of all these instructions here, they are already on the blog on the website cloudtechnologyexperts.com, and you can go get them there. Okay, so now the image is ready. Okay, so now we are done with the deployment and we've created the AMI image. So now let's try to deploy Kubernetes master node by typing, we can do sudo su minus, then we can do Kubeadm init, and we're going to wait for it to do its own stuff. Great. This command has completed running, and it gave us some instructions that we need to read. So your Kubernetes master has initialized successfully, and there are some instructions here for us to go through. So let's exit here and let's type kubectl get nodes or get path, for example. See, the connection to the server localhost was refused. Did you specify the right host or port? It's saying that because we haven't yet followed these instructions here. We have to make sure that we provide the security credentials for Kubernetes user to use. So we cut here and paste. We copy this one here and paste. And we copy this one here and paste. So basically we're done with that. So let's run the command again and see what happened. Now it's working. But notice one thing, it's saying that the master node is not yet ready. So the status here is that it is not yet ready. We want it to be ready. So what we have to do? Well, we have to make it work. We have to make it to be ready. So let's also check all the pods that have been deployed. Now we see all the pods that have been defined, and there's one here. It says pending. It says Kubeadm. Kubeadm is pending. Because the Kubeadm is pending, that is the reason why the master node is not yet ready. So basically what is happening is that it wants the network to be deployed. At the moment, Kubeadm has been deployed, Kubernetes master node has been deployed, but there is no CNI network. CNI means Container Networking Interface. That has not been deployed. Now there are a bunch of CNI plugins you can use. Something like Calico, WeaveNet. In this one, we're just going to use WeaveNet. Each of them has their own instructions on how you can deploy the CNI. But so we're just going to follow the instructions for Weave Network. Just 3 commands that we're going to type or paste that will deploy our Weave Network. First, we set a parameter for the kernel to be able to route, and then we export variable. Okay, connection server was refused. Okay, I know why. So let's exit here. Let's exit. We already done that. Let's now export this variable here. Let's do the export of the variable here. This is fine. So now we just have to run kubectl, and that will deploy our Weave network. Okay, so see, we're saying a lot of pods have been created. Now let's run the command that we ran earlier to check the number of nodes that we have. kubectl get nodes. It said the master node is ready. Look at it. Now the master node is ready, which is cool. Initially it said it wasn't ready. Now it says it's ready. So now also let's check all the pods. And okay, it says the Kubeadm is still creating. Let's just wait for it to finish creating, because it's important to make sure that we check and everything is working as expected. Once this has finished creating, we will go and start and continue with what we need to do. So everything is now running. It's all looking good, now looking like a clean system. And if we check the status of the node, it says the master is ready. Now we're done with the master node, so we now have to go and start to install the worker nodes. Remember what we did? We created an image, which is this one. So let's create an instance of this. Now it's okay for us to use the T2.micro just because we're doing a lab. In reality, you possibly want to make sure that these are more heavy. Okay, so for the security group, let's select the one we created earlier, which is Kubeadm. And then what else we have to change? Oh, it should look good. We say launch. Right, so we should have created 2 of them, but no problem. Let's go back to our AMI and let's create another one. Let's launch another instance so we can have 2 worker nodes and a master node. So now let's select the Kubeadm here, which is good, and let's do launch. So basically we're going to wait for the 2 instances to finish creating, and then we could start. So this one is already up and running, so let's copy the IP address, let's SSH into the server, Let's create another shell. Right, so now we're on the second node. So let's follow the instructions for deploying a worker node. So first thing we're going to do is to become a root. Then we're going to copy. If you go here, there was an instructions it gave us that we can use to join our worker nodes. Here's a command. We have to copy this command and just paste it here, and that will initiate the communication with the master node. See, here it's trying to use port 6443, which is the reason why we had to open the security group here. There's a security group for the Kubeadm. Let's look at them. See why. So we put the wrong security group here, 6443. It has to be 6443. 6443. So that is the reason why it's not working, because the security group doesn't allow it to do it. Okay, so as soon as we change it, everything worked fine. So get nodes, good. So now we have 2 nodes, but it's not yet ready. So let's wait for it, and it will be ready. Meanwhile, we can run the commands to get all the ports. See, the port with net is still being created. In case you don't notice, for any new node that you create, there will be an additional kube proxy and an additional with net. Every node will have 2 additional ports, kube proxy and with net pod. So this looks good. Everything is working now, and if we check our nodes, it should say it ready. So now we have a master node and we have a worker node. So let's repeat this process so we can have 2 nodes. Copy that, and let's come here and let's do this. Just cancel this one and let's go to the other one. Okay, now we're on the new node. Okay, so again, we're going to copy the command that we use to initialize the worker, and that command is here. So let's copy that, go here, paste it, Kubeadm. Oh, it's not running. Okay, they want it to be root user to run that command. So let's paste it. And this is quick. So let's go back to the master node and let's check the number of nodes that we have. Okay, so I told you the kube proxy is being created, container creating, and kubenet is created. So for every new instance, there will be 2 pods, one for kube proxy and the other one for the WeaveNet. Okay, so we need to wait for this to finish. Oh, all is running and looking good. So now if we say kubectl get nodes, we should have the 2 are ready. Everything is looking good. All is looking good. So now let's try to test that a cluster is working correctly. To test that the cluster is working, we just have to simply create a pod. To create a pod, we're going to do kubectl run, let's call it pod 1, and image equals nginx. So now we have created our first pod. Let us create another pod, and then we can test our deployment. kubectl run pod 2 minus image equals nginx. Okay, now one is also created, so let's check. kubectl get pods, and 2 of them are here running correctly. So that shows that the deployment we just did with Kubeadm went well. We had 1 master node and 2 worker nodes. You can check that with kubectl get nodes. So you can see everything's working correctly, and you can see how easy it is to deploy your Kubernetes cluster on Amazon Web Services with Kubeadm. Now, Kubeadm can also deploy your cloud or your Kubernetes cluster on any other public cloud, such as Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, and Microsoft Azure, and even OpenStack and a bunch of other public cloud platforms. So in this video, I showed you how to use Kubeadm to deploy a Kubernetes cluster on Amazon Web Services. I hope you liked the video. If you do, please like us below, and also remember to subscribe to our videos for this kind of videos that will be coming your way. Until I see you again in the next video, thank you for watching. Again, my name is Damien from Cloud Technology Experts.